So in Song of Songs, now I really recommend that you watch the video Lilies of the Field, the Rose of Sharon, because I covered this first chapter and second chapter and with a lot of other things in there. And that way you won't get lost when I go into this. Because I kind of continued from that video too into my last video I did, the Desert Rose. And I spoke about some visions in there from here. And when speaking about those visions, I showed this clip.
You were a twin, Angela. Twins tend to think alike.
I'm not like my sister.
But you were once. When you were kids. You'd spend every second with each other. You'd start a sentence, she'd finish it. You'd get hurt, she'd cry.
That was a long time ago.
That kind of bond doesn't just disappear.
There is nothing here.
She'd find her death in this. She thought enough break you. I knew your step. She knew you'd come. She counted on you to see what she saw, feel what she felt, know what she knew.
See, we know Yahweh will harden who he hardens, and from Ezekiel 38:10, it says at that same time, words will come into your mind and you will devise a evil plan. See, you know how the Creator can just influence his will to be done, and so you see little clues from in the Word, and so, and based off of that, see that twin and seeing what he saw, feel what I feel. I made some revelations in here, and plus it speaks about twins all over in this book, like right here, chapter 4 verse 2, forming twins, and you get down more, it speaks about twins again. Two breasts are as two fawns, twins of a roe. It speaks about twins all over this book. Twins of a roe. Yeah. So. But speaking on that though, with the twins, so this dream right here with the couch, that light that came, and if you watch the last video, I speak on it more. And then I spoke about it being really dark, and then seeing a light in the distance, and then zooming in, and seeing what I thought to be Jesus, looking down, and then I kind of seen like the head look up and the eyes look at me, and I was just in awe and everything, and then raised up again. And then I was, on a mountain, laying down, and I crawled up to the edge and looked down on the other side of the river. I saw a man walking with a cross, and then raised up again. I was in these bushes, I spread them open, and then I, saw a train on these hills. I saw train tracks for me as far as I could see and ahead of me, and I saw the sun and the sky and all that, but based on like this other information and what I've read in here, it seems like I could have been actually seeing what this queen saw. And based on that, I'm making more revelations in the Word. And it says, I will get me onto the mountain of myrrh and the hill of frankincense. But so from the first video then, the Lilies of the Field, the Rose of Sharon, I was in here, and it spoke about, rise, come, my friend, my fair one, or, my love, my fair one. Yeah, come, my dove, in clefts of the rock. That's, we're saying concealed in the rock. And this actually takes me to a certain place in the Old Testament. And there's other spots that clued me in to go there. But before I mention that, so like I said, I'm gonna link Lilies of the Field. I'll do it in the description, and I also will link the Day of Yahweh, Day of the King and Queen, because as of right now, I mean, it could change, but it's been like this for so many days now. They took it out of the search engine, and it'd be cool if it went back in there. Maybe before I even get this uploaded, it will be, but let's hope so. But this is going to take us to Numbers.
All these years, all I've known is darkness. But I have never seen a brighter light than when my eyes just opened. And I know that light burns in all of you! Those embers must turn to flame. Iron into sword. I will become your weapon. Forged by the fierce fire that I know is in your hearts. For I have seen what she sees. I know what she knows.
Okay, so that clip, I showed that in the last video too, but I thought I'd make an interesting little note, because I don't know if anyone really caught on to it, but she said, all my life I've just known darkness, and then I saw that great light. It's kind of like that vision I just told you about before that, and I spoke about it a little more detail than in the last video, Desert Rose. And so basically, from the Revelations, seeing what she saw, feeling what she felt. Okay, so Numbers 23. And Balaam took up this parable, and he said, Balak, king of Moab, has brought me from Aram out of the mountains of the east, saying, come curse Jacob for me, and come and denounce Israel. How shall I revile him whom El has not pierced with words? Or how shall I be enraged with him whom Yahweh has not been enraged? Now, I'm speaking on El. Exodus 6:2. And Elohim spoke to Moses, and he said, I am Yahweh, and I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as El Shaddai, but I was not known to them by my name Yahweh. And look, now if you go to the blessings in Genesis 48, Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me in the land of at Luz, in the land of Canaan, and he blessed me. Look, the El Shaddai that appeared to him in the land of Luz, that's where that Jacob's ladder dream was, the one on top of the ladder. That's why he made a pillar with that rock, that stone. He made a drink offering on it, and then when he first went through there and had that Jacob's ladder dream, he was going to visit some relatives, and when he was at the relatives, he appeared to him again in a dream, saying, I am the El of Bethel, and he told him to go back that way. And when he went back that way and he was back in there again, he wrestled with him. It said wrestled with the angel of the Lord, but it's that messenger of the Lord, the one he saw in the dreams. That's where he told him to bless him, and then he changed his name to Israel there. And it even it mentions how he changed his name to Israel there in that passage where he wrestled with them, but also in Genesis 35. But that El Shaddai is the one of the promise. So back in Numbers 23, so how shall I revile him whom El has not pierced with words? Or how shall I be enraged with him whom Yahweh has not been enraged? From the top of the rocks I see him. From the hills I behold him. Remember, so Song of Songs 2:14, my dove in the clefts of the rock. That's Strong's 2288. It's a place of concealment in the rock. Now check it out. It says in Genesis 49:22, Joseph is a fruitful bow, a bow fruitful beside a well. Like you say, vine fruitful beside a well. His branches overclimb a wall. But masters of arrows provoke and shoot arrows and hate him. But his bow abides in agility. And the arms of his hands. Now, if you watch my last video, the arms is the queen. It's right in Song of Songs. And in his hands are made supple by the hands of the Ha-Havir of Jacob. It should be her hands are made supple by the Ha-Havir of Jacob, the mighty one. Because that mighty one is from the shepherd, the stone of Israel, or like the rock of Israel, because Raha, the shepherd, even stone. I can kind of show you that spot I was speaking about right here in chapter 8, verse 6. Set a seal on thy heart, set a seal on thy arm. Yeah. So based on seeing what she saw and feeling what she felt. Look, from the top of the rocks, that's on that mountain, looking down over the valley, you see him. From the hills, I will behold him. I would have to say that would be when she saw the sun in type and shadows. Because how it says in Malachi, that day will come that will burn like an oven, that will leave them neither root nor branch. It's the king or queen. And it says the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings. It's the allegory of it. So, from that darkness and seeing the light, that would have been her seeing it. And then laying prostrate, crawling down, which you would get that reference if you watched the last video. But, see now, the people will live alone, and they will not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and who can number a quarter of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, for my latter end will become like his. Now, in the lilies of the field too, maybe people caught on to it, but so in the second chapter, we had a little reference with the latter rain and all that. I just gotta try to find it in here. Yeah, right here, verse 11. For lo, the winter has passed by. Because we're speaking about, because hidden right in this is, the king dying, going away, and, her going out in the field and doing her job. And the winter passed, the rain has passed away. So you got, like, the former and latter rain. Him being the former rain, more like the autumn, winter death. And the latter, that's more like the springtime. So let my latter end become like his.
When you left, and he left, you took everything with you.
So I've spoken about the type and shadows in that movie Twilight quite a bit. So you know how, like she's the queen in that movie, and he's like the king. The foreshadowings there. So and that was from that movie New Moon, and he left her. So it's like the foreshadowing of when he goes away for the 1260 days in the in the prophecy. But check out some of those words. So tell me when my heart stops, you're the only one that knows. It's gonna die and stuff. By blood and by me. Remember about the drink offering I've spoken about in the last couple videos? That's why I mentioned watch them beforehand, because if you're kind of confused on this, because I haven't talked about it in this video, but there's a drink offering being made. And it's spoken of in Song of Songs and throughout the Word. But that walking like a thief, probably sealing her heart, from that dream. Feeling what she felt. But by blood and by me, I fall when you leave. I leave for the 1260 days. And what I've revealed is that the queen is going to, die too and then be resurrected. And that's like when the gathering and stuff is going to happen. And so by blood and by me, I fall when you leave. By blood and by me, I'll follow your lead. Gonna die too. Let me die the death of the upright, and let my latter end become like his. Back in that Numbers 23, so you kind of get it. And it's kind of funny too, because the beginning of this talks about the altars. Like, build 7 altars for me here and prepare 7 oxen and 7 rams for me. It's kind of like in the first video, because I told you about, that cleft in the rocks, and then from other stuff we've seen in here, it took us to Revelation and those letters, and it had, those like 7 churches and stuff, but now getting down to verse 18 of Numbers 23, Balaam took up his parable, and he said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear, listen to me, you son of Zippor. I think that's El Shaddai, is not a man that he should die, nor a son of man that he should make revocation. Has he spoken, and will he not do it? Or has he spoken, and he will not make it good?" Look, it's like in Habakkuk 1:5, "Look among the nations and observe and wonder with astonishment, for I will perform a work in your days you would not believe if it were told." And you get to chapter 2. "For the vision is deferred for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. Though it delays, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not be delayed. Look, his heart is lifted up. It is not upright in him, but the righteous man will live by his faith." It's contrasting between good and evil as you read through here. But back to Numbers. "See now, I received word to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. And he has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen perverseness in Israel. Yahweh his Elohim is with them, and the shout of a king is among them. El brought them out of Egypt, and he has, as it were, the strength of a wild ox." Makes me think of that little banner I have with my coat of arms, and it's got the hand, facing like this, because it's a right hand, Ephraim. "But surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, nor any fortune telling against Israel, in keeping with this time. It will be said of Jacob and of Israel, what has El done? See now, the people will rise up like a lioness and like a young lion." He's rising up from a resurrection. But that young lion, that he will not lie down until he eats the prey and drinks the blood of the slaughtered. John 6:53, Jesus said to him, "Truly, truly, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you do not have life in you. He who feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood has eon and life, and I will raise him up in the last day. For my flesh most truly is food, and my blood most truly is drink. He who feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me, and I in him. As the living Father authorized me, and I live through the Father, the one feeding on me will also live through me." So that's that El, that's not a man that will lie, all that, he's got to, eat the prey, drink the blood of the slaughtered. So you get it? Do that offering Jesus did. Look, build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bullocks and 7 rams for me here. Little foreshadowings. But now when Balaam saw, I'm just going to skip down to verse 2, because get to the parable. "And Balaam lifted his eyes, and he saw Israel camping with their tribes. And the spirit of Elohim came to him, and he took up this parable, and he said, The oracle of Balaam, son of Beor, the oracle of the man whose eyes have been opened." Now think too, if you've seen like my Mark of the Beast videos and talk about the 2 horns like a lamb, and that one, a mouth was given to him, because that one lamb, it really does get killed, and then the one pretends to have done a resurrection, but only the Creator can do resurrections, and he's not going to resurrect the evil one. They have to fake it, and he's given a mouth, so that mouth isn't necessarily him. So this one right here, whose eyes have been opened, this isn't his eyes, but of who he saw in the vision. You get it? So, the oracle of the one hearing the words of El. And if you watch the last one too, I told you about I prayed, and then I went and sat down. I got drowsy, and then I saw the bird in front of me, and then I heard the 3 words, and each time I heard the word, the birds multiplied, and I felt I was lifted up. And I heard Joseph, Joseph, Joseph. And now when I think of this and hear this, it was my voice I heard. Who sees the vision of Shaddai? It's the one that was her, the queen, seeing. The one looking down that was yoked. And then looked up and saw the eyes and was like, whoa. The fallen down yet with eyes open. How beautiful are your tents, Jacob, and glorious your tabernacle, Israel. They are spread out like the valleys, like gardens by the riverside, like trees of aloes that Yahweh has planted, cedar trees beside waters. So, the one, on the mountain, and then I saw that river, and then the other side, the one carrying the cross. But from this revelation I'm seeing, I was seeing what the queen was seeing. He will pour water out of his buckets, and his seed will be in many waters. Now look, that water being poured out of the buckets, that's the former and the latter rain. Got the V and Joshua tree is what that bottle says. There's one bottle being poured out. Boom, 2 being poured out from Joshua tree. So as you see in that video clip, there was the V on the bottom, which, that's that 22nd letter, and that's, their little holy grail symbolism, and, of the queen, the male and female. If you put it, the other way, it's the male, and then the V, the right side up, is the female. But, those 2 bottles said Joshua tree on them, pouring out the buckets. And, that was Constantine. Now, and his seed will be in many waters. His king will be higher than Agag. And actually, it should probably be saying she throughout here and her, because the one seeing the vision, like I saw the vision, but what if I was actually seeing what the queen saw and felt what she felt? So, her kingdom will be exalted. El brought her out of Egypt. She has, as it were, the strength of a wild ox. The king coming from Ephraim, the firstborn, the son of the right hand from the Genesis 48 prophecy. He will devour the nations who are her enemies, and he will break their bones and pierce through them with his arrows. So he crouched, he lay down like a lion and like a lioness, or actually she crouched and she lay down like a lion and like a lioness, because her in that dream being laid down and crawling up to the edge and looking over the mountain into the valley, over the river, seeing the one carrying the cross. It's like laying down, the mother laying prostrate, and then, she's going to be mended up with wings. References from my last few videos, if you've seen them. Who will rouse her? We know who will rouse him, because Jesus said he would lift him up on the last day. In Zechariah 6, behold the man whose name is Branch, for he will sprout out of his place. That's that Joshua one. He's going to be resurrected, fly away for the 1260 days. He will build the temple of Yahweh. Indeed, he will build the temple. Because, destroy that temple, in 3 days it will be rebuilt. Because that's, it's going to lie down and then be resurrected by the king. So then if you watch the last few videos, you know about the desert rose and the veils behind it, and how that took us over here to chapter 17 with the Damascus, and that glory of Jacob will fade. That's speaking of the queen, that fading flower. And then the harvest comes at that point, because it tells you throughout scriptures that's when the gathering will happen, like in Zephaniah 3, and it tried to sneak in there saying Jerusalem instead of the queen, because they're going to rejoice with singing, and that's when the gathering and stuff's going to happen, when they gather her who was lame, and it spoke about the daughter of the dispersed with the offering, the drink offering. And then it says in verse 7 here of this chapter, in that day a man will have an eye towards her maker, because she's going to be resurrected. And her maker, that's her husband. That's that Joshua. He will build the temple. It's not speaking about, like creator. They're her maker. Like, we destroy this temple and it'll be rebuilt, it'll be remade. Her maker. And then, like how I told you how they lied about putting Jerusalem in Zephaniah 3, because in the first chapter it said that his hand will be against Judah and Jerusalem, but all of a sudden it talks about Jerusalem being appraised, because they lie, they try to cover up the queen, because Isaiah 54, even Paul references it and says the new Jerusalem, the mother of us all. He knows about the lying pen of the scribes. If they just straight up put queen, it would just get deleted. And it puts on here in verse 5, for your maker is your husband. Yahweh Sabaoth is his name, and your Redeemer, HaKadosh of Israel, and he will be called the Elohim of the whole earth. The El Shaddai. So blesses he who blesses you, and curses he who curses you. And then down to verse 15, and he took up this parable, and he said, the oracle of Balaam, the son of Bor, the oracle of a man whose eyes have been opened. The oracle of the one hearing the words of El, knowing the knowledge of Elion, that's the Most High. Thinking that visioner is being lifted up above all those chicks. What did Jesus say in Matthew 23 about wanting to be like a bird that gathers the chicks under his wings? And you can also look on here, and it speaks about, I have joined you, daughters of Jerusalem, by the roes or hinds of the field. Do not stir up love until the proper time. Just before that, his left hand is under my head, and his right doth embrace me. Now think that stronghold of the daughter of Zion from Micah, and that tower, well, being raised up like that, if I was seeing what she was seeing, with the left hand under her and the right hand embracing her, being picked up and seeing the chicks, and that's when that gathering happens. Micah 4, in that day I will gather the lame, gather to get her who has been driven out, that dispersed, the lame. But in you, tower of the flock, stronghold of the daughter of Zion, to you it will come first dominion. The kingdom will come to the daughter of Jerusalem. It's that captive one. And that tower of the flock, like when you really look into that, it goes back to Genesis and to that story with Rachel and where she died when they're on their way from Bethel to Bethlehem, or Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. It kind of breaks, it breaks away the whole lie that they're, Bethlehem in Judah, because it was actually Bethlehem in the north where Ephratah is, and it lets you know the Messiah comes from Ephraim. But she's the one seeing and feeling those things going on here. So that oracle, the one hearing the words and all that. If I saw what she saw, who saw the vision of Shaddai falling down, yet with open eyes. I see him, though not now. I will behold him, though not nearby. A star will rise out of Jacob, and a scepter will rise out of Israel. I don't like that translation. Let's check it out. It should say like a star will lead forth Jacob. They got like a star will come from Jacob, a scepter from Israel, but check it out. Getting the Hebrew here. Here we go. A star. To tread, march. Archers bend bows, tread down, guide, lead, march. So it makes more sense when you know the whole story and the whole picture painted. A star will lead forth Jacob, or march, have Jacob marching, whatever, and a scepter will rise out of Israel. Because you know, she's looking for the latter end to become like his, but you know, he won't lay down until he eats the prey and drinks the blood of the slaughtered. He's going to do that drink offering. He's going to die, fly away for 1260 days to receive the scepter, and she is going to lead forth. The queen will. She's that star. She was on the, behold them from the rocks, from the hills. From that hill, the little decoding from that dream to figure out the riddle of it, the sun of righteousness rising with healing in the wings. And so that's when she leads forth Jacob, and that scepter rising away. And that scepter, though, that's the one that will shatter the forehead of Moab and subdue all the sons of Seth, and Edom will be a possession, and Seir will be a possession for his enemies, and Israel will act out of strength. And out of Jacob will come he who will have dominion, and who will destroy the remains of the city. And that's out of that one from that Micah 4. In that day I will gather the lame and all that, and that the one that will have the first dominion, and the tower of the flock, stronghold of the daughter of Zion, the one hidden in the rock. So all who commit lawlessness will be stubble in that day that was coming up. Malachi 4 says, Yahweh shall leave them neither root nor branch as the king or queen. But you who revere my name, the Son of Righteousness, will rise with healing in his wings, and they will jump for joy. It's that coming Elijah before the coming and awesome day of the Lord. But check it out. That's that scepter rising out of Israel, and then you know the queen is going to lead forth at that point, because that's the one that will gather together the lame. And it's just like in Malachi 3, it points out this gathering of the lame, which is spoken of here in that day. But has your counselor perished, pangs taken hold of you like a woman giving birth, raked in agony and labor to give birth, daughter of Zion? Because the gathering is going to happen at her resurrection. And, you know, she's going to go out of the city and you'll live in the field. It's kind of like they spoke about in Song of Songs, which I spoke about in my last video. But just want to get down here more. So rise and tread like oxen, daughter of Zion, you know, her strength, that one of the oxen, wild ox. But for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hoofs brass. You will crush many people, and I will devote their wealth to Yahweh and their substance to Adon of all the earth. That's that milking the breasts of the nations and kings in Isaiah 60. But you know, speaking of that horn iron and all that, so I got to point out some things, because I've spoken about these in other videos, but I've spoken it to get people's eyes towards seeing that there is a king coming. But when you really now examine it, and I'm taking you in here deeper now, in this Micah 6:9, I'm pointing this out. So Yahweh's voice cries out to the city, and those of true stability will regard your name. Hear the staff and him who appointed it. His voice is speaking about the queen there. She's the staff here. And the king is the one who appointed it. So Jeremiah 48:17, mourn for her, all you who are around her, and all you who know her name. Say how the strong staff is broken, the beautiful rod, and that's that pointed one. So that staff is also called the rod here. And now you read through this whole chapter, you'll see like in verse 24, on Kerioth and on Basra and on all the towns of the land of Moab. And you keep reading through here, in verse 40, for Yahweh says this, as you will see, he will fly like an eagle, and he'll spread his wings over Moab. And it could actually be her there too, but no, this is where that destruction's coming, because the mighty men in Moab will be like the heart of a woman in her birth pangs, because her gonna be killed, and then in her resurrection, that's when everyone else is gonna end up getting resurrected then too, and that's when that gathering happens, and he's gonna come down there at that point too, and so you'll see him flying like an eagle too, but she's gonna be raised up in her wings mended. And then you get up to chapter 49 here, and it talks about his running away, but I will make him run away from her, and he will, as you will see, he will come up and fly like an eagle and spread his wings over Basra in that day. The heart of the mighty men of Eden will be like the heart of a woman in her birthing pangs. But Isaiah 34, for Yahweh has a sacrifice in Basra, verse 6. So that's that one, the queen, a terrible slaughter in the land of Edom. And the wild oxen will come down with them, and with the bullocks and with bulls, and their land will be drunk with blood, and their dust saturated with fat. For this is the day of vengeance of Yahweh, the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion, and its streams will be turned into pitch, and its dust into brimstone, and its land a burning pitch. It will not be quenched day or night. The smoke will go up throughout the eon. It's the slaughter coming on, because it's going to take over the kingdom, take it back. And I think that's that same stuff you see in the desert rose part in Isaiah 35, because you got that blooming rose. It's the resurrection, and it speaks about the day of recompense and retribution coming. Now you get to chapter 50 of Jeremiah. As you see, people will come from the north, the mighty nation, and many kings will be raised up from the remote parts of the earth. That's that resurrection and gathering, because this is the part where it says, I will make them run away from it, because he ran away the first time, and now for that 1260 days, but now he's come back, resurrecting the queen, gathering the nations. So who is this chosen man? And so back in Micah 4:13, so it's that daughter of Zion, for I will make your horn iron. Now look, she is called that staff and that rod. Horns are people. And that horn being iron, that's a staff, an iron staff, a rod of iron.
Iron will melt, but it will writhe inside of itself.
That iron melting, it's that Joshua here in the type and shadows of Zechariah 3. That stick, is that stick plucked out of the fire? Because they lie right here in verse 2 and put, may Yahweh who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. Is this not a stick plucked out of fire? That stick, that's a staff, that's a rod. Speaking of a person, not a whole city. Because even before here in chapter 2, verse 12, Yahweh will inherit. It's speaking of Ephraim, the chosen one. They put lie and put Judah, his portion in the appointed land, and he will once again choose. It's the temple, because then it says, be silent, all flesh, before Yahweh, for he has roused himself out of his appointed habitation. Which Habakkuk 2, it's like the last verse in there. It speaks about Yahweh as in his appointed temple, be quiet. And this is, boom, he's up there getting his clean clothes put on, and then he has that stone before him, and it's the branch And on that one stone, 7 eyes. Back to the letters in Revelation. So the verse 18, the Son of God who has eyes of a flame of fire and his feet like refined brass. I know thy works. See, that one who flew up there. This one's kind of confused me in the past, and I thought, oh, this is Jesus. No, it is actually the one who is, who was, and who is coming, the Almighty. Which is the God who is, who was, and who is coming, the Almighty. This El who is, who was, and who is coming, Shaddai. It's El Shaddai. Because this one, it's speaking of it's going to give the blessing to the queen here. But look, but hold fast what you have until I come. Because Jesus has to stay up there until his enemies are made a footstool. So that wouldn't be Jesus talking about coming to take out the enemies first. And to him who comes off victorious and keeps my works until the end, which is to say, and to her who comes off victorious and keeps my works till the end. Remember Numbers 24, that she's going to have her latter end be like his. And I will give her authority over the nations. And she will shepherd them with a rod of iron. Her horn iron, her hoofs brass. You get it? So it's the queen shepherding them with the king, that rod of iron. Like clay bowls, they will be shattered into shivers. That's why they're standing on that sea glass later too. It's the potter's vessels being broken. Like that I received alongside my Father. Think in that Numbers 24, that scepter will rise out of Israel because he's going to fly away. His father being Jesus. And that should be, I will give them the morning star. Because that morning star is the queen. Think about it. Elijah, that son of righteousness rising with healing in his wings. The sun going down at noon, predicting his death, and then sackcloth coming on everyone. So, but then that sun of righteousness rising up, that's in the morning when the sun rises, that resurrection. And she's that star leading them forth, the morning star. Because the sun of righteousness coming up in the morning, she will lead them forth. So Revelation 22, you see how it says, I am the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star, and offspring of David, the bright morning star. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. And the root and offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So check it out. So right there, the offspring. Family, offspring, race, nation, kind. So, and knowing that, check it out. You could read, I, Jesus, have sent my messenger to give you this testimony for the churches. I am the root and family of David and the bright morning star. So he's the family of David, where it says in Jeremiah chapter 30 or 31 that in David I will raise up. So he's the family of the king David and the queen, that bright morning star.